Okay. So you kind of know where your target clients hang out, kind of, sort of. But now you need to decide if you're going to focus on a local market or a global market. If you're a tutor who already has a strong in person business and you're generating a lot of word of mouth referrals, you may choose to stay local. If you are building your business from scratch or you're having trouble filling your client list locally, you may want to cast a wider net, search globally for your clients, and we'll talk about some of the reasons for that. So, first, this is a big shift as an online tutor. You're not limited to the people who will drive to you or the people in your driving radius. You can tutor students online anywhere they speak your language and have internet. So you can connect with people from all over the world this way. I have students all over the US. I'm not sure right now how many states I've tutored students in, but it's in the teens. And I also have a Canadian student. I've also tutored students as they traveled. I've tutored students who are on vacation in Hawaii or visiting family in Nevada. There are pros and cons to local or global focus for your marketing. The first pro of a local market is that you're more likely to have personal contacts and to get more word of mouth referrals this way. So some of the things we'll talk about for local marketing are networking with colleagues, networking with people you know in the community through scouting, through church, through school groups, and letting them know that you tutor. And you don't have those kind of connections globally. So local is where those word of mouth referrals tend to be the strongest. With local students, you also have the option to meet in person. Um, it's my preference to do all my meetings online, but with some students, if they're local, I'll say, well, let's get together for the initial assessment, or let's get together for a couple getting to know you sessions when they're younger. Um, Typically, the parents that are looking for that really secretly really just want an in-person tutor, and I think I've gotten into a situation where they hoped I'd changed my mind and I hoped they would change their mind, but really what they were saying was online tutoring wasn't a good fit. But it's nice to have it as an option to be able to see students in person if they're local. The downside of an only local market is that it's limited. Your town only has a certain number of kids, and only a certain segment of those kids have difficulty reading. So the number of parents that can hire you at any given time is smaller. You may also find that you're bound by local prices. So I talk to tutors a lot who are amazed to hear what tutors in other parts of the country charge and say, like, oh, they could never get away with charging that much. And that's kind of true for me here in my local market. What parents are looking to pay for individual tutoring is less than I need to make as a person who lives in the area. So one option for me would be to travel 45 minutes an hour to closer to Boston, to the suburbs, where tutors command a higher rate. And another option for me is to open up my market to any student nationally. And I have several students in California, in New York City, in other parts of the country where cost of living tends to be higher, the going rate for tutors tends to be a little bit higher, and the parents were not shocked by my rate. If you choose to go global, and global doesn't have to mean you'll take students from any country in the world, you can be national or just tutor students in North America. Um, the great thing about that is you have a bigger market. You can often get better rates, as I was saying, if you are working with students in especially certain big cities in the US. You may also find that students in other time zones are a better fit for your schedule. When I was teaching full time, I could only tutor from about 5 p.m. to say 9 or 10 p.m. So having younger students on the East Coast aren't available at 9 p.m. So being able to tutor students in Central Time Zone, Mountain, or Pacific time zones were a really good fit for me when I was looking to fill a schedule of later evening hours. The challenge of being a national or global tutor is there's this sort of needle in a haystack effect. There are parents out there that really, really need your services, and here you are, and it can be a little trickier to connect with those people and find them. The other downside is there's no in-person option. So if you find that a student really does need an in-person tutor after you've been working with them online, you may have to pass them off to another tutor because you're just not there to do the in-person work. If you choose to take a wider approach to marketing and kind of market without regard to geography, some of your strongest tools are going to be social media, your Facebook or Instagram page, and interest groups that you join on Facebook. And also, content marketing can be really effective. So, content marketing are things like blogs and videos that you write or film for the purpose of educating your audience, engaging your audience, converting people from casual viewers to paying customers. We'll talk a little more about that. You can also do things like offer workshops or webinars. You can use SEO, which is search engine optimization, which is how to get your pages found on Google, in short. And even if you're marketing to students outside your geographic area, word of mouth still works. You can still have a great referral from a student who knows their neighbor needs the same thing, even if both of them live across the country. So don't rule out word of mouth marketing just because they're not in your immediate area. If you take a localized approach to marketing, one of your strongest sources is going to be word of mouth. So you can get the word out to your teaching colleagues, schools, and people who do formal testing in your area, students and parents. And the people that you have already worked with are going to refer you to other people who need the same thing. Creating a flyer, hanging it up, either sharing it digitally on Facebook or hanging it up at the dry cleaner and a coffee shop and the library. That is a way that you can get out the word locally. That doesn't really work when you're shooting for a national or larger market. Local Facebook groups can also be a really good source. It doesn't happen often in my neighborhood Facebook group, but it does happen often in my citywide moms group that parents are asking each other about tutors. So either being able to recommend yourself, if that's allowed in the group, or having friends that will put your name out there is always very helpful in those local groups. In addition to Facebook, Nextdoor is a local social media site that's organized into towns and neighborhoods, and that can be a great place to get out the word about local services. Like flyers, any kind of physical advertising can be used for local marketing. Those would be a sign on your office or in front of your house, car magnets, advertising with local sports teams or in the program for a local production or on the placemats at a local restaurant, or actually getting business cards and pinning them up places and handing them out. All of those can be important parts of a local marketing campaign. So those are the basics of the decision about whether to be a global tutor or a local tutor. When you're online, you have the flexibility. You don't necessarily need to commit to being just one or the other, but you do need to sort of focus your marketing in one place or another. I would recommend, if you have a local business already, if you're moving a physical tutoring business online, start local. You may find that everything you need is in your area and you've already laid the groundwork because you have a lot of local contacts. If you don't have that yet and you're getting started, you can choose whatever you want and you can sort of open up your marketing to a national audience. And you may have better luck filling your schedule that way if you can sort of get a foothold in some of these sources for marketing. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that you are thinking about whether you want to focus your marketing efforts on just your local geographic area or a wider audience. And we'll talk more about how to do that.